represent Project PRIME, and there's the acronym that PRIME stands for. This is a collaborative project between BSCS, several of us at BSCS, and Julie at University of Northern Arizona University, the Center for Science Teaching and Learning. It was a large project, 5+ years, and a large staff. The primary folks who've been involved all along are actually the four of us who happen to be in this room. The premise of this project was, can we design an intervention with teachers that is focused on educative curriculum materials. So curriculum materials that help to not only educate students, but also teachers about teaching and about the content. Combined with transformative professional development. And that is professional development that is intended to challenge something about teachers' beliefs about their content, about their teaching, and sort of help them shift to a different perspective on that. So if we have that type of an intervention, what's the impact of that on teachers, among other things, pedagogical content knowledge? That was our primary focus. There were a number of research questions that we had, but the kind of overarching research question is, what is the impact of this kind of intervention on biology teachers' PCK? So just a little bit more background. We worked with biology teachers all over the state of Arizona. We had about 45 teachers in 2 different cohorts that went through this. The professional development component was intense. It involved 3 weeks in one summer, 3 weeks in a second summer, plus some multiple times to meet during the academic year in between those. So I'm going to divide this session into kind of what we thought going into this project, or what we thought we knew maybe, what we found out from our results, and partially as a result of that, what we figured out that we don't know or that we don't understand. So those are sort of the 3 phases of this little presentation. So our theoretical path of influence was that this intervention that we had designed would have an impact, would influence teachers' academic content knowledge, and we've talked a lot about that and what that means in here, and I'm just going to leave it at that for now, about their general pedagogical knowledge and about their pedagogical content knowledge. So we hypothesized that our intervention would affect all 3 of those knowledge bases and would also have a direct effect on teacher practice, as well as an effect on teacher practice through the changes in their knowledge bases. That was what our project was really designed to test, to look at. Our ultimate assumption was that by enhancing teacher practice through these knowledge bases, we would affect student achievement through practice or through practice which is influenced by these knowledge bases or directly by the knowledge bases to student achievement. So those were kind of our ideas going into this project. Okay. So I want to start with our model for PCK, which has changed dramatically in the last few days, but this is what we thought going into the project. PCK has these 3 components. Pedagogical knowledge, content knowledge, and contextual knowledge, and PCK in our mind actually lies at the intersection of those. So it's the part of pedagogical knowledge, content knowledge, and contextual knowledge that applies to the specific topic that we're teaching to specific students for a specific purpose. So we're shifting now into what our results showed. First of all, we used a reflection instrument to evaluate or assess or quantify. We used all the components in our small group session. Teachers' pedagogical content knowledge, and we did a factor analysis based on those results. And so our empirically tested model of PCK has just 2 components. What we found was the items that we had designated as pedagogical knowledge and contextual knowledge loaded onto the same factor, which was distinct from the items that we had for measuring content knowledge. So it kind of collapsed into this 2-factor kind of model. Okay, so that's the first thing we found. So our results also showed that, as hypothesized and hoped, that our intervention did have a positive impact on all 4 of the knowledge bases. Here's PCK is now separated into the 2 components. All 4 of the knowledge bases we had looked at, as well as classroom practice. So they were all statistically significant and all had substantial effect sizes. We also wanted to look at the impact of the knowledge bases on, or the relationship between the knowledge bases and teacher practice. And so in this case, what we found was that there was a a statistically significant relationship between general pedagogical knowledge and teacher practice, but not any of the other knowledge bases, not PCK, not academic content knowledge. So that was kind of the first, maybe a little question about, so what exactly is maybe going on here? And then we also wanted, even though it wasn't a part of, it was only a small part of our study, we did want to look at what's the impact of changing or of affecting teachers' knowledge bases and their practice on student achievement. And we used hierarchical literary modeling for that. And here we found that only academic content knowledge had accounted, I guess how we say that, accounted for a significant portion of the student variation in achievement, other than the pretest score. Okay, teacher practice in particular did not have a significant portion of that variance, which is still very confusing to me because I don't understand how anything happens in the classroom without teacher practice and why that wouldn't be correlated. I'm not sure why. So here's our empirically tested path of influence. And this is just a quick summary of what I just said. We found that the intervention positively impacted all four of these teacher knowledge bases, the two components of PCK, as well as academic content knowledge and general pedagogical knowledge. Positively affected teaching practice. In our case, that meant toward a more form-based type of teaching, more inquiry-oriented teaching. But only general pedagogical knowledge was correlated significantly with teacher practice. And only academic content knowledge was correlated with student achievement, and that was directly to student achievement through teacher practice. So that left us with a number of things we don't know, and I've listed a few of them here. So what exactly is this relationship between teacher knowledge bases and practice? We only saw one of ours that really had an impact on that, or seemed to have a relationship with that. Are there some missing factors? Maybe these are some contextual factors that we've been talking about that intervene between those. Another question that we were beginning to ask ourselves, because we were convinced that we saw that difference in teachers' knowledge bases, but how long does it take for that to become internalized enough to come out in their practice? Maybe there's a time dimension to that. Maybe there's something else in between taking your knowledge and putting it into practice. Similar kind of question between teacher practice and student achievement. What exactly is that relationship, and what are the missing factors there? Does do our surprising results represent inadequacies or limitations in our model of PCK? It could also indicate inadequacies in our measures for that. It could be all these missing factors that are there. And, there are other things that affect teaching that we haven't accounted for in this model.